Hello, and welcome to this Be Smart About Art show. I'm Susan J. Mumford. I'm the founder of BSAA and an art market entrepreneur myself. And I'm delighted to be here today on a Tuesday, providing you the Art World This Week edition. So with the Be Smart About Art show, what we do is we have different segments each and every week. And normally Monday is the Be Smart About Art show. But guess what? When you are running your own series, let's say, you have to make decisions as to what you're going to do when your program falls on a bank holiday. What we decided to do, I'm giving you this idea just so you can kind of take away things for your own endeavors, for your own projects, whether personal or professional. So you can get some insight and see what somebody else is doing about it. Not to say that we get it right or wrong. This is just our decisions. We realized, well, we have the control as to decide whether or not to run on a Monday. We thought, let's honor the fact that the last Monday of May was a bank holiday in the UK, a public holiday in the USA, our two kind of big places, my two main places. And so we'll give everyone the day off, say, yep, do whatever you want to on that day. I, for one, was doing tons of gardening, which was fabulous. And what we'll do is we'll run the Art World This Week segment on Tuesday. So that's what I'm here to do today. And you might have seen some of the teasers in the social media posts that we have been sending out. So indeed, what we have this week are these three different headlines. I'm going to kick off with one about coronavirus. This is called Artists Struggling to Work Amid Coronavirus, says Rachel Whiteread. Secondly, we have got the Graduate Showcase 2020. That is in the UK, and I think that that's very interesting to see as a model for people no matter where you're based. And thirdly, what is Scope Immersive? And what do you think yours truly sees as being part of what's really significant about the wording of the Scope Immersive that is currently taking place, having started on the 22nd of May? So what I'm going to do is share each article with you, which I've opened up on my own machine as a PDF. For the last one, I'm going to try to share the browser as well, so that you can check out what they've got going on Scope. So do stay tuned to the end if you're watching this live, and hey, keep watching if you're watching the replay later as well. And I'm going to start sharing my screen. So let's go for it. So I said the first thing we're doing is showing you the Rachel Whiteread piece. There we are. There is the famous artist herself. So you can see that actually you can see at the bottom of the screen, hopefully, depending on how it's showing to you. There you go. It's in theguardian.com. This piece comes from the 14th of May and is by Mark Brown, an arts correspondent. So this says, artists struggling to work amid coronavirus, says Rachel Whiteread. And this theme has definitely come up in some of our shows. Interestingly, successful sculptor, successful artist, and she's saying, rather the piece says, sculpture is backing UK fund, giving upcoming artist £5,000 as the lockdown takes its toll. So let's read you some highlights from this piece. And as ever, I encourage you to add comments or questions for yourself or from your own observations or experience in comments below the video. This reads, visual artists are struggling to produce work and concentrate on projects along with the rest of the population, the Turner Prize-winning sculptor Dame Rachel Whiteread has said. Even though artists often worked alone in their studios, I have seen artists posting about that. They're like, hey, isn't this the same as normal? Not exactly. The lockdown was taking a heavy toll financially and creatively, she said. And that's the thing that I've been seeing more than anything else, is that there's just this lingering thing in the background making you go, oh, I can't really focus because I want to be thinking about this thing over here. Not that it's fun, but you're just kind of going, listen, that's the reality. Therefore, according to The Guardian, Whiteread is supporting a fund created by Art Angel. Check them out if you don't know this organization, giving £5,000, that's currently about $6,500 or so, to emerging artists, as well as mentoring, and I know the value of that, to help provide them with thinking time to develop ideas over the next 6 months. It is an important initiative, says Whiteread. She states, artists are finding it very difficult to work. It's partly financial, but it's also difficult to know what to work for because everything is closed down and you're not quite sure what's happening with shows and galleries and anything that is happening in the future. Now, I will say, as maybe a twist to that, one positive that I've heard from some artists is that even if they had pieces prepared for exhibitions that actually now they can create. Now you can create things without a specific deadline in mind. I do know some artists who are doing commissions in mind, but for many people, you can just do whatever you want. So maybe this is an opportunity to play, right? Do whatever you want, see where it takes you. And she does state about the Art Angel Fund that it gives hope. It's not just about money, but it's someone else putting faith in you in these incredibly uncertain times. And I would say that that is wonderful, because if we look at some of the government support that's been given in different countries, this is something specifically geared at artists, which is incredible. This states, Whiteread was helped early in her career by Art Angel when it commissioned her work House. I still remember seeing that in the Tate Britain years and years ago. A concrete cast of an entire Easton house that led her to winning the Turner Prize in 1993. Actually, maybe it was something, I think it was the Take On House, actually, that I saw. And she is, as it says, one of Britain's now most successful and recognized artists. She states, everybody is just feeling in limbo. I'm trying to work and I've got the money and resources to do that. But trying to do big projects or stuff for the future, it just feels really difficult. I'm going to stop the screen share for a moment to say, isn't that amazing? Here you have got one of the biggest contemporary artists of the current day, and she is being really honest. And she's saying, listen, here's the situation. It's difficult to concentrate. So if you thought you were alone, you know, absolutely guaranteed you're not. She has gone and let that be published. I mean, that is just phenomenal. And I think really important that she has done that as well. Let's carry on. And she goes on to say all of the things that make us human have been taken away from us. Things like choice and decision, it takes a toll. It's hard to concentrate just going out for a meal or going to the cinema or seeing a show. The interruptions and accompaniments to your day are gone. Everything feels like it is Groundhog Day. I'll just finish because I want to pick up on that in a moment by saying that this finishes by stating that the money has come from the Freelance Foundation and an Artists for Angel Fund created in 2018 through the sale of works by artists, including Whiteread. Now, what's interesting there, she talks about how we've lost control, and that's actually been a theme that we have been addressing in the Be Smart About Art show. And in fact, our very first speaker, Tamara Gallon, was talking about that very thing, and she was saying about how important it is that you take control. So what are your thoughts of that, or how are you taking control of your own environment and your own situation? For those of you who are watching live, I invite you to add your own examples, your own ideas, either that you're doing yourself or that you've seen other people doing. It's one of the reasons that I started the show with Be Smart About Art, as I said, hey, here's something that can be guaranteed to be happening. We go online, unless the internet goes down, you know, we're good, pretty much. So this is something that adds certainty to people. This is something you can control. You can say, right, at 11 a.m. Eastern or 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK, Monday to Wednesday, I can be watching Be Smart About Art's show. Amazing. So that means that you've suddenly gone, right, here's a thing that you can do. And it's just like how on Fridays, I have now deemed this Falafel Day. And those of you who I talk with a lot will have heard about Falafel Day. And in fact, one of my close associates in New York, who's currently in Canada, her partner does amazing falafels, and they've recently shared their falafel recipe. What I'm doing well at the moment, my hummus game is strong, my falafel game is not so strong. Fridays, used to go to the local food market. Anybody who would book me out for one-to-one sessions would never see an available slot between 9:30 to 11 a.m. UK time on a Friday, because I would be at the market. I would get my falafel hummus wrap from the local stand. Amazing stuff. And I thought, well, gosh, I used to love doing that on a Friday. I now make the hummus. I now make the falafels. We just don't bother with bread. Having said that, Chris has been doing sourdough, so we're now doing flatbread. So we've taken control and we've said, Friday lunchtime, that's what we're doing. And therefore, Thursday nights, I've got in the calendar, soak chickpeas. And therefore, I remember what to do on a Friday. And it helps to set the week, helps to give it some structure. And it's incredibly just powerful, even if it seems like a really small thing you can do. So that's something that I think Rachel Whiteread was commenting upon, was that feeling of that lack of control. So I'm thinking for you, how can you potentially work towards addressing that? Now let's look at our next piece of news. Here I've had it printed out. And this is on the Graduate Showcase 2020. Now, I am going to share that on the screen for you so that you can see it as well. Okie doke. Now, I've got to open it on my end. There we are. We have got, scrolling up, pardon me if that was really quick to your eyes. Looks a bit crazy the way that the text is jumbled up. But we've got here presented from arts.ac.uk, which is the University of the Arts London, which brings together multiple art colleges, that's BA level. Interestingly, in the US, people tend to pursue BFAs or then MFAs these days, whereas in the UK, you typically still do BAs and then MAs. Just a cultural side note, kind of interesting, I think. So this was published on the 19th of May. This states, as you will know, due to the global pandemic, we have had to rethink how graduate shows are delivered this year. You're going to see this is a bit of a theme because this is touching upon the next point, but the next article that we've got, actually, I've got something to read into as well. Whilst we have had to adapt very quickly during these extraordinary times, we believe it gives us the opportunity to deliver a digital showcase of unprecedented scale and ambition, and will enable us to showcase your work to the creative industries worldwide. So this is clearly addressed to the students. Although we are still in the early stages of planning and development, including extensive consultation workshops with graduating students and staff across colleges, we have already secured a partnership with IBM, computer folks, technology folks, who will power the platform. Amazing, resulting in a digital showcase with a truly global reach. The below aims to set out the approach to the project and the exciting opportunities we believe it can deliver for our creative graduates. A summary is that they're doing a two-stage approach for the 2020 graduate shows. So you've got the virtual and you've got the venue. They deliver the virtual graduate showcase platform by the end of July, and then powered with that partnership I mentioned, it will be the largest showcase of graduate work in the world. And that's really because of how they bring those various colleges together under the umbrella of UAL, University of the Arts, London. The showcase is designed with creative sector professionals, potential partners, and employers in mind. I know that I, for example, always receive invitations to the various student shows, so I'll be seeing tons about this. I've probably already got some emails in the inbox that I've missed, but they're in there, I'm sure, and I will see them. Details on how to document and upload your work will be shared with you over the next few weeks. Now, what I want to do is scroll down to where it says here, student involvement, because this is what I think that we can all be taking away from this, is thinking about what action you are taking and how it's important that you are doing something to enable, whether it's online exhibitions, online dialogue, whatever it is, requires you to do something. A crucial first stage for us is to engage with you, the graduating students, to work on what we need the platform to deliver in order to best present the diversity and range of work created. This is why teams are already running consultation workshops to ensure the showcase delivers everything our audiences expect, including graduating students, prospective students, staff, creative sector professionals, potential partners and employees, the general public, and the media. Now that's where I want to interject and say, hey, why do the exhibition? What's the point of the exhibition? If I think about the planning workshops and the planning sessions that I have done with creative professionals in the past who might be going into participating in an art fair, an artist fair, doing a solo show, a group show, whatever it is, you always want to think about the why. Why are you doing it? What's the point? What do you want out of it? And so for those students, that's the very first thing that they really need to be considering. You know, they might have thought beforehand one thing, oh, it's where I put my pieces out to the general public. It's my debut. Okay, it can still be a debut. It's in a different format. So how do you go about that? What do you do? And I'm asking you the same questions for the projects that you're doing. So hey, here I am. I'm still talking with creative folks, very talented. Thank you for those who are watching live. Thank you to those people who are watching the replay. It's online. It doesn't replace in person, but for the time being, it's what we have as our solution. So what do you have available to you? And then thinking about how UAL has structured that, what can you do to put in place some planning steps on your end. And for those of you who watched, there was a recent BSAA show in which I was on the whiteboard, and I was taking people through a whole process of the why, the what, the who, the how much, the when. That's a really important set of steps. I think there may be 7 in total. Not sure if I think I might have just done 6, but you can easily find them online. Uh, Take yourself through that if you're thinking about pursuing a project. It's really useful to really think it through. And in the case of these students, I mean, they might be smart, but they're still by and large going to be young enough at an age where they haven't actually got lots of exhibition experience. So UAL is really going to need to be holding their hands to be taking them through this process. The good news is that maybe many of them grew up with digital technologies. Perhaps this is something that's more comfortable to a number of them. I mean, the number of Zoom calls that I've been in when you had the tech assistant come and help the parent sort out their audio or sort out their ability to speak into something, and input versus output, all of that stuff. And maybe that person was 11. So if somebody's 21, 22 years old and graduating, getting their BA/BFA, they might be in a pretty strong position actually to handle this reasonably well. At least that's something that I personally find to be reasonably comforting as well. Now, I want to share this again with you because when we then think about exhibitions, when we think about how you are going about exhibiting what you're doing, you're communicating with the world, I think that we really have some major opportunities, unlike what we've ever had before, and that is the reach, as UAL calls it. So here we go. We've got the reach. The scale of ambition for the showcase is unprecedented, and as we've said, we believe you will be part of the largest virtual showcase of graduate work in the world. We plan to maximize the potential to engage as many people as possible. We are developing a creative campaign which will target key audiences. Hello, I'm going to get so many emails at Be Smart About Art and other businesses I run. We will seek out media attention for your work and promote the showcases across UAL and college, social, and digital channels. And now I'm going to mention one more thing before I go back into thinking about how you can apply some of this thinking, that reach. This is saying the platform to achieve the scale of our ambition, we will be harnessing the expertise, experience, and technology of IBM to develop a digital platform. I mean, that sounds quite interesting, developing a digital platform. Globally renowned for their innovation in digital design thinking, IBM have led highly creative and collaborative workshops with our staff and students. So it sounds to me like they're making something that's quite groundbreaking and very well worth keeping up today. So I don't think you probably see this on the screen. I'm going to scroll back up, so bear with me visually. There we go. It's a bit funny, the text, because it's overlapped, but I just want you to see that you can see arts.ac.uk, and on the bottom right there, I'm just going to scroll up, you have got snapchat.com, and then it's /ad/uni Arts London. So if you want to check them out, they're also on Facebook, they're also on Twitter. I think that sounds really interesting. The thing I wanted to point out was that what I think is interesting when they talk about the reach is they are clearly aware of the fact that they have got all of these students who are located internationally. I mean, I've done various talks in the past at UAL, I've done various events with them, and the students are definitely an international crowd. And what that says to me is that actually they have got students who are based in such geographically diverse areas that they know very well that they can reach audiences they have never previously reached, because the whole approach has not changed. The way that we're thinking, it's that erosion of geographical barriers or boundaries. Previously it was a question of, oh, will you be able to make it? And you meant, of course, in person to my student show. Whereas now it's sort of a situation of, well, the way to attend is virtually. That's it. Therefore, somebody who is half a mile down the road versus somebody who is 5,000 miles away, they're going to have equal access to that exhibition, most likely. It's all being presented online, unless you were presenting a show in a space where you could walk past it and look through some windows. I mean, I know that there's one artist, just to give her a shout out, Julia Hamilton. She's based in Deal in Kent. She's great. And so she's been putting works of art, these beautiful paintings, in her front window in her house, which I just think is such a great idea. And she's on Instagram putting kind of on details on how much they cost and what the medium is and when they were made, that kind of thing. So you can still see art in some instances. But in terms of this exhibition, it's taking place totally online. So therefore, the reach is suddenly something that it never has been previously. That's phenomenal. And what it is this is not about new technology necessarily. This is not about something being newly available. This is actually based on our needs and therefore changing our approach. And so it's just blown up the way that we used to think about attending a student show. It means that me living in Lewis and East Sussex, I can more easily make it to all of those student shows this year. That's amazing. And the reason that that's incredible is that I'm time poor. I'm not somebody who really wants to be going from place to place to place to place. I don't have the time capacity these days. And so now I'm going to be able to pretty readily, without travel time, be able to go to all of the different student exhibitions. So think about how you can take advantage of that too. I think that that's really pretty exciting. Now we're getting on to our last piece of news on Scope, and something that they write in their opening paragraph, no, it's in their second paragraph about dates, intrigues me. And I think I see what they're doing. It's kind of me reading between the lines, reading into it, and I think it's probably what they're doing. I could be mistaken. Let's open this. Okay, so we have got over into the Scope Immersive. It says, what is Scope Immersive? So I started seeing emails about this I would say only about a week ago, and then it opened only 4 days ago. So they announced it pretty soon to the launch date, basically. It says, so Scope, in case you don't know, is an art fair. And just grabbing, oh, that's interesting. The link is immersive, IMMERSIVE, immersive.scope-art.com. So that's a different website from what I normally know as the Scope Art Fair site. Scope is a satellite fair, I would say, although I know some people get offended by using the word satellite fair, but let's face it, that's basically what they are. It's nothing to Scope's detriment at all. Scope in its own right has its own brand. And so Scope tends to take place as the reason they call it a satellite fair is a satellite to the mothership fair in different locations. So take, for example, Scope taking place in Miami. And so that takes place at the same time as Art Basel Miami Beach. Scope takes place in Basel typically during Art Basel in June. So Miami being December, Basel being June. So it would have been a few weeks away from now. And they also have typically been a satellite event to one of the spring art weeks in New York, either Armory or Freeze. So I think it's maybe more recently been Armory. And now suddenly you've got Scope going online, which is excellent. They've taken this initiative and run with it so quickly. Here we have Scope Immersive Online Viewing Room is an online sales initiative designed to connect Scope galleries and artists with new collectors. And that's true. What I'm hearing from reports is that they're basically, comes from Artsy, from a conversation I had last week with Benedict Duffy out of New York City. Is that you're actually seeing new people who've not previously been buying art, maybe buying art on the platforms. And it's suggesting that potentially there are new people getting into art buying during this pandemic period. Maybe suddenly there is an opening to people, or a perceived opening, when they don't have the barrier of having to have the invitation to the art fair, or feeling like they're able to attend because they can just quietly go and attend these events online. I think that's another fascinating point for us to consider of what we're discovering during this time. These invitational, survey, and thematic online events will present our collectors with the opportunity to explore and purchase artworks from Scope exhibitors remotely in a curated digital and interactive space. Scope Immersive will be presented each month, starting with a curated 8-gallery show beginning May 22nd, so we're now 4 days into that, and continuing through December in celebration of the 20th anniversary edition of Scope Miami Beach. Now, firstly, 20 years of Scope Miami Beach? That's really interesting. I'll have a look at that. Because Miami Beach, Art Basel Miami Beach didn't actually start until a few years into the noughties. So, and I always thought of Scope being alongside it. So I'm not quite sure what the history is there. But regardless, what we have here is a suggestion. It says continuing through December in celebration of the 20th anniversary edition of Scope Miami Beach. So I think if you want the Susan take on this, that says to me that what Scope is quite rightly doing is they're going, well, actually, there's a possibility that it may not happen this year in the physical world. I haven't seen anything about the art fair not actually going ahead, or the other art fairs not going ahead in December. There's a lot of speculation about that going through the industry, certainly. But yeah, nobody has actually, so far as I have seen, has made any announcement. But what they're doing at Scope is they're opening up the possibility. So they're basically guaranteed that something is happening. That's lovely. They're saying, right, Scope and Immersive is taking place, reading between the lines, whether or not the physical event takes place. If anybody else has news on this, by the way, feel free to comment, give some links, etc. I'd be interested to see if there are updates that I have missed. And so we know that that's going to be taking place, whether or not there's a fair. I think that that is absolutely fascinating and very, very smart as well. Now, what I want to do is share my screen. We're going to see how this works because I want you to see this. We are looking at a little snapshot of Scope Immersive. It's going pretty quickly. Interesting. So there you go. That's the whole Scope Immersive concept, and I really think that their take is interesting, and it adds some points on what they're doing as well that I'm going to just share with you here, because you have got more details in their press release. It says unique technology. Unlike other platforms that rely on outdated iterations of basic slideshow technology, Scope Immersive invites collectors to step inside cutting-edge three-dimensional spaces, which can easily be accessed by computer, mobile, or VR device. It sounds to me like it is a 360-degree technology situation that maybe enables VR as well, something like that. And it does say then inquire in real time. Each booth is interactive and allows you to contact the gallery directly to inquire about a piece securely. And that's good too, because the gallery can give you more information about the works. It's really important that you enable those conversations to take place and listen to the way that collectors or potential clients want to communicate with you. What are their interests, and would it be helpful to have a video call or a phone call? Like, what makes sense, or just purely a chat room dialogue? And I think I'm just scrolling through to see what else there is. There we go. There's an example. Purchase Artist Work 2019, and you can see the prices upon request. But what's interesting with that, perhaps as a final point for today's show, is thinking about the listing of prices online. Now, I only discovered last week that it seems as though when Art Basel moved their Hong Kong show to take place online, that a requirement of the exhibitors was that they listed prices online. And now people who are the fair directors, people at the kind of up in the upper echelon art fairs, as we would perceive them in the art industry, they're going, oh yes, this is the shift that's been waiting for all of these years. Suddenly, years and years and years of price transparency online is suddenly becoming a reality. Now, it may not apply to, say, pieces at the top end of the art market. That's my take. But the reality is that suddenly, because of online being the way to access art, the way to show art, that actually listing prices and enabling that information immediately is smart. And I would say the way that we have cultural changes taking place, it makes a lot of sense to be listing prices. You go online to look for something, you expect to be able to see the information about it immediately. And if you don't, you assume it's too expensive. You don't want to be embarrassed in case it's too expensive, so you don't ask about the price. So Basel, for the Hong Kong edition, which went online, they required the galleries to list prices. And when we just saw scope, it said price upon request. There's this idea still by a lot of galleries, maybe some artists think this as well, that by needing to ask about the price, it starts a conversation. But my take is that it can prevent the conversation from taking place in the first place. What are your thoughts? Go ahead and feel free to comment on that, because it's a good question and there's no necessarily black and white correct or not answer. And suitably, right as I'm doing this live, I am seeing emails coming in from Scope announcing the show this week. So they are on it when it comes to the communication, which is awesome. So everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today's Be Smart About Art show. Be sure to go and join the conversation over in the Be Smart About Art community in Patreon. You'll see the link in the description of the show, but furthermore, I can tell it to you as well, which is patreon.com/Be Smart About Art. We've got a growing network, and each Friday we have a BSAA members gathering where we basically talk about how things are going that week. We support each other, and communities like that are just really brilliant. So do come over and join us. We also have got replays and access to materials available in the membership program. And if you're interested more broadly in getting support for your creative career, do check out the wider program at besmartaboutart.com. We will be developing the website in the coming weeks as well, which I'm very excited about. There are only so many projects that you can pursue at one point in time, right? So you might have an idea as to how things are going to look into the future. You've got to plan out when you're going to do what and prioritize. And what we prioritized was making the show freely available to people. So if you're not in a position to be able to join the community right now, that's absolutely okay. Keep enjoying the show and follow us on social across platforms at Be Smart About Art. And as we say, we're here to help you thrive in an ever-changing art world. And my oh my, is it changing more than ever before. And furthermore, we do add participate, connect, and grow. So participate in community, connect with people, and then grow yourself personally and professionally. Everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure as ever. I look forward to seeing you again in future editions of the Be Smart About Art show. I've been Susan J. Mumford, signing out from Lewis and East Sussex. Ciao for now.